right, today we're going to unpack a single, really fascinating sentence that came out of the crypto world. It's basically a direct order given to an entire community, and it comes with a very, very specific number. So let's just get right into it.
And here it is. It's so simple, right? But it's also incredibly powerful. Now, this isn't just a friendly suggestion. It's a clear call to action, a directive that's aimed at every single Pi network user. The language is totally unambiguous. Hold your Pi coin. It sets a very firm expectation right from the get-go.
And then you have this number, $314. It's not a nice round number like 300 or 350. It's weirdly specific. You know, in a world as volatile as crypto, putting such a precise target out there, that's a pretty bold move. It immediately makes you ask, okay, where on earth did they get that number from? And that is the central question for us today. It's the whole reason we're doing this explainer. We have a command and we have a very specific target value. So our mission here is to dig into the source material and see if we can find any kind of reasoning, any methodology at all, behind this 314 figure. First things first, before we can even begin to search for the why, we need to be absolutely crystal clear on the what. So let's just quickly break down the directive itself. So the directive uses this term GCV, which we're told stands for Global Consensus Value. Now, based on how it's used in the text, this is the target price we're all aiming for, the $314. But, and this is really crucial, the source material itself doesn't define how this consensus is reached or what the methodology is. It's just presented as the target, period. So the instructions themselves, they're incredibly straightforward. If you're a user, you hold your coin and you wait for the specific value. That's it. There are no complex actions, no other conditions. You know, from a communications perspective, its power is really in its simplicity. It's super easy to understand and even easier to follow. Okay, so we totally understand the command. Now it's time to go on the hunt for the justification. Why the specific financial target? Let's start digging. So what do we find? Does the source give us some kind of financial model? An economic forecast? You know, anything to back this up? Let's see what justification is actually provided for this number. And here we have it. This is the absolute core of our finding. On one hand, we have this very strong, very specific command. But on the other hand, when you look for the supporting evidence, the data, the rationale, anything in the source material, there's just nothing. The text simply doesn't provide a justification. You know, this absence of information is actually the single most significant discovery here. Sometimes the most important finding isn't about what's in the text, but what's glaringly missing from it. Our analysis really shows that this is a one-way communication. It's giving an order, but it doesn't provide the reasoning behind it to build any kind of trust or allow for verification. In short, it's basically a statement of faith, not a presentation of evidence. Ultimately, it really just boils down to this simple fact. The source provides a very clear what, but it completely, and I mean completely, omits the why. That's the fundamental structure of the message we're looking at. So let's wrap this all up. What have we actually learned here? It's really important to be clear about this. This explainer isn't about the ultimate value of Pi coin. It's not about whether it's a good or bad investment. It's about analyzing the structure and the nature of this one specific message, based only on the source material we have. So let's recap the objective findings. We've got a clear claim. A directive was issued to hold Pi coin for 314 GCV. The message was aimed at all Pi network users. The instruction, what to do, is crystal clear. But the big missing piece? The justification. The source never explains why this value is the target. So our key takeaway is that we've analyzed a directive that is basically expected to stand on its own authority, without any stated reason. And that leaves us with a really fascinating thought to end on. This specific case is a powerful example of a much broader idea. It kind of prompts us to ask, what really is the relationship between getting an instruction and actually believing in it? When a community gets a clear directive, but with no justification, what does their choice to either accept it or reject it reveal about things like trust, authority, and even shared goals? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.